Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic episode of Keeping It Geekly. We're here with our new friend, Sean Wood. We're here to break down The Fog Within issue 1 through 4 and everything in between. Welcome to the stream. I know earlier backstage we were talking about just kind of every time you've tried to come on, life has found a way to put me on hiatus. And we are swinging because I was damn sure we were going to make this sit down happen. Welcome onto the show finally, Sean.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you reached out. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, but I'm glad to be here for sure.
So for anyone who is watching the stream who is unfamiliar with your work, give us a little bit of a breakdown of who you are and how you got into creating comics.
Yeah, so basically I started about 2.5 years ago. I've always been a comic reader. I've told people before, I was kind of born into being a nerd and liking comics. My middle name is Logan because of Wolverine, because my dad's a huge nerd. And my name is Sean because Sean Connery is the best 007. So I didn't really have any option to not be a nerd in that kind of realm. My dad was a collector growing up from the 60s and 70s. He was collecting everything under the sun when he was a kid, and then kept on doing it when I was a kid as well. And so I've always read them. And I always thought it'd be cool to write my own thing, but I didn't think there was an avenue for it. And when I finally saw a Kickstarter, and Scott Snyder was starting to do his writing class through his Best Jacket Press. I took that class and then just ran from there, and I haven't stopped since. It's been about 2.5 years of writing my own stuff. And I thought it was only to be The Fog Within, but now I've written other series. I'm coming out with my 3rd series later this year, and I'm doing anthologies and trying to do everything I can get my hands on, basically. So
before we dive into more of your work, I see just an armload, a boatload of prestigious medals behind you. like, are you some gold medalist? Like, what's going on here?
No, I wish. Those are all participation medals, but they're all like marathons and longer runs. I've done 3 marathons. That's my biggest feat. And actually 2 of them was 3 weeks apart, just because I wanted to see if I could do it. So, but all of those are runs basically. And that's where I got the idea for The Fog Within. So I was trying to figure out like story stuff, and I was on a run one morning. It was foggy, go figure. And I just had the random thought, as you always will have when you're running, is what if I ran through this fog and ended up somewhere else? And then my mind couldn't turn off for this whole world building and the whole story and all the characters and just how it was all tied together. And so my running started this whole thing basically.
You know, it's funny you say that. I've talked to a numerous amount of creators, and it seems like going on that morning walk or jog, something about it just sparks so much creativity. I know for me, I'm soon to be a father of 4. I just got the dad bod going on. I don't know if I could do a long distance running, and maybe a short brisk walk here and there. But
yeah. I mean, anything helps. Yeah, I mean the longer runs definitely takes a whole lot of commitment. My second my daughter, my second child, she was about to be born is when I was training for my first marathon, and that was rough. It was a lot of fun when I finally got to that point, but having a kid and then also trying to do all that training, doing 2-hour, 3-hour runs for like 12 weeks straight, it gets kind of hard to do both of those. So yeah.
Absolutely. We have our good friend World at War Comics stopping in and on YouTube to say hello. Cody, welcome to the stream. I hope everything's been going good with you. Sean, we're here to break down The Fog Within. I had the opportunity to read the first 3 issues, and I love this. We were talking backstage. It kind of gave me a little bit of a vibe, like a backwards, like alternate, like version of Terminator. How we see a lot of time traveling back with the Terminator. We're seeing a lot of traveling to the future in The Fog Within. And you said this was inspired with a run, but let's talk a little bit more deeper into the series. So we have our main character, Hunter, and man, his powers are just insane. Issue 3, I felt like he was like Neo from the Matrix, just like destroying all kinds of swarm units and everything. But let's begin with the basics. Let's talk about issue 1. What is the infection? What's the Day of Sorrow?
Yeah, so just to start out, so basically the way everything starts, there's a catastrophic event in the present. Something happens, and they don't know exactly what it is. It hurts this town of Brooks, and he's married, newly married to Madison. They have a fight, and he goes off on a run. Go figure. And he ends up after this run, he runs through some fog, ends up in the future 26 years, and immediately there's swarm soldiers. They know that he's there. There's rebels. They're trying to take him before these swarm soldiers do, and take him captive. And he has no idea what's going on. He has no idea why he's there or what it is and everything. And this town of Brooks has been walled up, and now they're under this regime of Schism. And Damon, which you find a little bit more about Damon, that Damon and Hunter have a past. And then he's swept up by these rebels. They get him out of there and show him his base. And yeah, he learns of a new family that he has now in this future. They've been waiting for him. There's this prophecy. Later in the other issues, you find out where this prophecy has come from, and craziness ensues by that third issue with that prophecy and other things with this fog. So
it's just full-blown action. I loved a lot of the different characters. I think you have a pretty good, solid, diverse, just like designs and functions. One of my favorites was Epsilon. I think I'm getting that right. And Priscilla was such a badass weapon. Alpha was awesome. Really loved Zeta as well. Just the tech guy. You really get to see him flourish in issue 2 with the suit and the gadgets. Just big fans of the cast, and then our baddies too. I loved. I don't know. Maybe I missed it, but the 2 henchmen for Damon. They look like the big bulk brutes and stuff. Just brutal. And I can't wait because you kind of get an idea stuff's about to go down with Hunter and those 2 at any moment. So
issue 4 gets crazy with I call them the pets. They're the monsters. You learn a little bit more of what they are in issue 4, and there's a lot more fighting involved with them in this issue finally, because they've been like in the background. They've done a couple things here and there, but now it's full blown just craziness with all of the rebels and with all of the villains just all at once. The entire issue basically.
So with issue 1, was that your first break into creating indie comics?
Yeah. So everyone's always said, and I've watched so many videos before I start small, do a one shot or do an anthology. And I jumped into a futuristic, talking about past and future and trying to tie everything together, of a 12 issue miniseries. And I don't know what I was thinking, but it's worked out. It was a mess the first 8 months that I was working on this first script, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was still trying to figure everything out. But when I finally did, it clicked after like issue 2, and now I've written 7-8 issues of different things, whether it's The Fog Within or my other series. So now I can just roll. I can really do a script if I already know the idea of the A and the B in like 5 days now, compared to like 8 months. I was just like trying to figure it out. So yeah, that was definitely my first script though. I was nuts.
Yeah, script writing can be challenging. I know for me, getting the idea out isn't too bad, visualizing the panels and stuff, but it's like the dialogue. I always kind of get stuck on the dialogue, and it seems like you really had dialogue nailed down in issue 1, especially with such a diverse cast. I mean, there is a lot of, I wouldn't say moving parts in a bad way, but there's a lot going on where, I mean, as a first-time writer, I probably would have been pretty, I don't know, like hesitant to dive into such so many different characters, but you really nailed it swiftly and gave each one a different emotion and personality. And I really love just how they interacted with each other.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I've been told it's kind of like a G.I. Joe kind of style. So like, there's a lot of a diverse cast, and they don't have the same voice. They all have their own voice, their own reason for being in the situation that they're in, and a purpose. And that was definitely difficult. And like I said, I don't know what I was thinking when I started to delve into this as my first thing, but I'm glad I have, because it's made me grow a lot faster than I think I would have if I just did like a one shot and they went from there. So yeah.
One thing I really love too are the swarm units. They're really brutal. They're futuristic robots. Can you give us a little bit more about them without, I guess, spoiling too much.
Right. Yeah, well, the design really, I wanted to have my own Sentinel. That's kind of the color scheme and everything. So it's Sentinel-ish, kind of Foot Clan-like, stuff like that. But I wanted him to have more of a purpose than just like a henchman, just the guys that you're beating up, in the background. So I'll just say issue 2, you find a little bit more of what they actually are. There's more to than meets the eye with them.
See what you did there.
Yeah. um, but yeah, I mean, I love the Swarm. With really, that's when I knew I had a good comic, is when with my art team and everything. Page 2, I think it was page 2 or page 3 of the first issue was the big explosion of the Swarm being shown, and just the way the colors popped and how everything came together. I was like, holy crap, this is going to be awesome. And I was already excited, but I was even more excited and stoked just to get this out there. And yeah, the Swarm has been a blast. There's pretty much each card that I do, the trading cards, they all have the Swarm involved. Yeah, they're like a hive mind of character. They all talk, robotic and everything, and it's just a lot of fun to just play with them and do what add to the story with them involved.
And I love their design too. Robots I feel like can probably be pretty hard to come up with, a unique just version to your own story. And I think you really nailed it. It just felt really complete. And I just kind of love how when we dive into the villains layer and stuff, just like a little bit more of a look at like what's going on with that operation. Now let's pull up the campaign, let's go through some of the interiors, kind of some of the rewards and everything. We have Snubs69 over on Twitch stopping in to say, W streamer, thank you for joining us, Snubs. I hope you're having a fantastic evening as well. For everyone that is watching, right here is a link to the campaign we are checking out. I'm very excited to break this down. Like I said, this has been an interview in the making for quite some time, probably about a year or two, I think, right?
Yeah, about 2 years, yeah.
So give me the details, Sean. Who is all involved in the creative process with the Fog?
Yeah, so for my team, David Dion, he's been the artist since the beginning. And he was just my penciler at first. And then he said he wanted to take on inks as of issue 2. So he's been my penciler and inker since, and he'll be my pencil inker moving forward after this as well. My colorist is Joshua Rodriguez. He's been the colorist since the beginning. And Letter Squids, he is my my letterer, and he's been, for everything that I've done so far, he's been great. He's added just a whole other level to like the 90s kind of feel of this action-packed series. Yeah, normally you want the letterer not to stand out, and that's how you know you have a good letterer, but his sound effects and just the way he does like the Swarm lettering with their bubbles and everything, it just adds so much to the story. So
yeah, I was a really big fan of the sound effects going through. I don't know what it is about comics, but whenever I'm reading, like a good sound effect just sucks me in so much more, it feels like.
And that's really the hardest part too. The dialogue is really hard too, but the sound effects, like getting non-corny sound effects to add to the book, has been interesting. So many Googles and so many like trying to find other comics. Like when I'm reading my weekly pull list, I'm literally taking snapshots of books that I'm reading, like, oh, I should use that one, or that one looks cool, or use this kind of design of the sound effect. And it's crazy how many pictures of my phone is sound effects.
So give us a little bit about, I mean, I don't know if it's spoiler or not, but can you explain a little bit about Hunter and his special ability?
Yeah. So this Fog, like I said at the beginning, he has no idea what it is, how he got there and everything. But you find out in issue 2, which I have, I think, some of that further down, explaining what's happened so far in the story. And there's kind of an alien you find out is come to Earth. You find a little bit more why they've attached themselves to him. So really, I felt like the Fog is kind of like this symbiote kind of idea. Yeah, so he has these abilities. He's either pushing the Fog, he's either making portals, he can stop time, so not just go through time, but also stop time in different areas. and he's just learning more about his abilities until issue 3 when it really ramps up, and yeah, it gets a little nuts right at the end. He's in issue 4 now. He's going after Schism on his own. He feels like he's wronged people in his past, so he's let them down, and now in the future he's let his new family, the Rebels, down in some capacity in issue 3, and so he goes off on his own trying to stop them without any help, and that's not going so well these first few pages. And The way we ended issue 3 is the Rebels in different were in different areas, and they were separated, and now they're all culminating to Schism's lair, to try to either help Hunter or help others that might be there already. And Yeah, all the Rebels. So for each issue, I basically tried to make a spotlight on like one or two of the Rebels, and really brought out who they are in character, and bring something to the table that they have that no one else has. And now this issue, you've seen what they can do, and now they're all coming together in different ways, and just crazy. It's like, I think 20 out of the 24 pages is nonstop action, of all the Rebels, and it's just a whole lot of fun.
You know, I really, really love this cover right here. This is such a gorgeous color. Is this the implication that Hunter is going to be able to manifest his powers in a different way?
Maybe a little bit, but also Damon. So we haven't really seen too much of Damon's power. We know he has a power like like Hunter's, but we haven't really seen it used too much. He's more the guy in the background making everybody else do everything for him. And later in this issue, they full out brawl, and you see what he's capable of, and it gets. Issue 3 got pretty crazy, but yeah, issue 4 with what Damon does, it kind of it should, and I hope blows people's minds.
So my man in the background, is that a nod? Because I remember in one of the issues we see Hunter, like it's like a one-page progression kind of his graduation, childhood, and everything. There's a kid in the background.
Yep, that's Damon.
I knew it, dude. I knew it. And I wanted to ask, but during interview, it's always like, am I going to ask this question and be wrong and look like a doofus? But
No.
when you said the man in the background, I was like, I know what he's talking about.
Yep, and there's all these Easter eggs that I've placed since the first issue, and said like this one liner that really doesn't make any sense, and you don't know what it could mean until really this issue or later that I'll bring it up. So I always, tie that in at some point. So I'm trying to work in the future of the storyline, and that sometimes that's kind of hard to like bring it together, because someone can easily miss it because they read it 2 years ago. But I'll try to bring it up in like updates and stuff, like, hey, you might want to go back to something in this first issue to understand what's going on in this latest. But yeah, that's gonna be a big thing. So Damon has definitely been in Hunter's past, and same with Madison. Let's just say all three of them are tied together in some kind of capacity, and yeah, it's
Mr. Take Your Girl. I mean, damn you, Damon.
Exactly.
And right here we see some of that awesome sound effect right here, like the swoosh. And then the fog, like when he teleports, and even with Zeta's like just going invisible. And I really love right here, you can see it a little bit better, where you kind of see like the phasing. I think that is such a cool attention to detail.
Oh yeah. It was a lot of work trying to make that make sense. But yeah, my colorist did a great job. And the crazy thing about doing this for 2.5 years so far with the same team is you've seen my writing has progressed, and also David's art, and then Josh's coloring has progressed exponentially. Each issue it gets better and better. So it's been really cool to see all of our progression at the same time.
So when you are creating a script, give us a breakdown of how the collaboration process looks like between you and the artist. Do you let your artist take the wheel a little bit, or do you kind of have like a set idea of how you want the story to lay out?
Yeah, so I have, well, when I first started, I didn't have a team yet. So I knew I needed to have a script before I could go find a team. So I didn't know if they wanted the old Marvel way, or if they wanted the full script. So I kind of laid it out a little more loose at first. And then I found that pretty much everybody likes full script. Nobody likes the Marvel way. They want you to tell them what you actually are looking for, and I'm completely fine with that. So when I've done the full script, I'll tell David or whoever I'm working with that I have it panel by panel exactly what I'm thinking. But if you have a better idea, I'm not going to tell you no. Like, we can talk it through, and normally the artist, since they're the one actually drawing it, it makes more sense for what they come up with. And we've definitely changed plenty of panels or pages altogether of what we've done in the past because of I'm open to ideas. It's not just me; it's a whole team. So if we're not working together, then why are we doing this? You know, it's not just me, so.
So what are some of the influences and inspirations that went into this series? I think we're kind of on the, I feel like we kind of grew up with similar childhoods here, you know, when I read this and kind of like some of the feelings I get. So what has gone into this series that you've picked up from other, you know, influences?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a '90s kid. I was born in '88, so I mean, all the '90s like X-Men and Ninja Turtles and all that kind of stuff was huge, and you know, on TV and movies and stuff. But comics in general, I mean, what I wanted to have was a '90s nostalgic feel to the comics and to the shows. So there's some kind of X-Men-esque things in the book, but really the dynamic between some of the rebels, I was really thinking of the Ninja Turtles for one. You know how there's the science guy and there's the hothead is Alpha, and things like that. So that's really where that came from. And really I wanted my favorite thing about writing is the world building. So that's really why the first issue I really put out the world out there. And then after that, I go crazy with you know, the actual story after that. Yeah, I mean, Scott Snyder is a huge influence on writing. And actually, when I was taking his class, I actually met with him once a month as well, which was really cool. And
No big deal.
Exactly, yeah. He was actually the guy that you'd hope he would be. He was the nicest guy ever. I've met him in person since, and he knew exactly who I was and told my son, like from afar, he's like, by the way, your dad's an awesome writer. And my son was blown away. He's like, the writer for Batman thinks you're an awesome writer. And I'm like,
God, you know, I love that.
Yeah.
I had a moment like that. I was interviewing Julian Shaw. He was working on some Spider-Man for Marvel. And I had my youngest boy was wearing a Miles Morales shirt. I'm like, hey buddy, come here, and like he got to show his shirt. And dude, it was such a like a stoked moment, right? Because as a kid yourself, like you would remember that forever.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, but it was pretty cool. And also I did Brian Michael Bendis' class as well at the same time, and I met him in person at I think that was Baltimore Comic-Con, and he was really cool about it as well. Showed him my first book. And but Scott, he actually looked over all 4 issues of The Fog Within and also my recon book. And I don't meet with him anymore because I did it for the first year that I was involved with this class. But yeah, it was a godsend when I first started, just to make sure that my story made sense. So the first time I met with him, actually, I already had the first issue completed, like lettered and everything. And he said he was blown away by, you know, this was my first comic. He gave some suggestions and I did some lettering changes, but that's all that it needed for it to be a little more cohesive, I guess. And after that, it just gave me way more confidence in my writing, and then just made it a whole lot easier to have, you know, him behind me, helping me out. And like I said, I talked to him once a month at least. And it was like for like 5 minutes or so, but he's like reading the book before and emailing me after and that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, that's invaluable input, right? You have the writer of Batman being like, hey, you know, here's some minor changes. You know, I took a class with Amy Chu from the Kubert, the Kubert School.
Oh yeah. Nice.
So shout out to DC for helping me do that. Appreciate you, much love, brother. But so like I had her go over my thing, and for me there was just like so much pressure, right? You have like a well-established writer, and it's like, you know, little old me, like, what do you think about me trying to spitball my idea, get out there in the world? I mean, you said you worked on your first issue for 8 months? Like, how did you feel? That was probably the biggest sigh of relief, right? Like when he was like, yeah, dude, this is awesome, man.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was nerve wracking for that entire 8 months. But after I finally got it out there, and Scott Snyder saw it and thought it was awesome, then yeah, that just meant the world. Yeah, and it's just crazy to think. When I started, I thought Kickstarter was the go all be all type thing, that I'm just gonna make bukus of money immediately. I'm gonna, no one's doing this out there, right? Like I'll be awesome, and I'll just be out there in DC, Marvel, whatever. And finding out really quickly when I finally got to Kickstarter, that was not the case.
Mm-hmm.
But if I didn't have that mentality starting out, I probably wouldn't have continued with the writing. So I'm glad I was wrong. And I don't know where I would be, honestly, without writing. I can't stop. It's a blast. So
No, I feel that. I think when Amy read mine, I was like one of the only students that like wasn't afraid. Like my first, like I did an ash can, and it's a pretty brutal story. Both like character, like one character dies, like bleed out their eyes. The other one's like stuck in like a never ending like just comatose like hemorrhage is the best way to put it. And it's like the story is based inside his head. It's like an endless loop, so it's called Ceaseless. And I just remember her being like, yes, this is awesome. And I'm like, okay, I was worried that you're gonna think I'm a psycho. Like
no, you gotta have that kind of fun with comics. I mean, that's the whole point of it. It doesn't mean that you are that guy all the time. That's just the art. That's just what needs to be out for that particular story. Yeah, that's awesome.
Everyone watching, we're gonna just pinpoint some of these rewards. We got the Fog within issue 4 connected covers plus poster, $22. Awesome price here. Those covers are awesome too. I mean, that was always the funnest thing as a collector, like going to your local comic book shop, seeing the covers that just like piece together. I love it. Are we gonna see more of that with issue 5?
So I might not do it for issue 5. I was thinking about doing that for arcs, like the end of the arc. So like for every 4 issues, do something like that. I was thinking about doing it maybe for the trade, that kind of thing. But do it for more special like issues, not just every issue. But this is David Dion, my interior artist, that did this connected cover. And I don't know if you can really see it, but that poster back there, that is that connected cover as a.
Ooh, hold on one second. Let me.
So that won't be the mini poster, but yeah, let's see if you can.
Yeah, super jealous of your collection too. I had to take my shelf down, and like seeing yours, I'm like, man, I miss it.
Yeah.
Calling to me like the Green Goblin mask in the corner. Put us up, Cody.
Nice. Yeah, this took about 10, 15 years. Basically, every Comic-Con that I go to, I get some kind of statue, and it's kind of.
They're not cheap.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So we have the digital coming in at $5. Awesome price there for 24-page comic. The digital deluxe at 10, which is going to include various pencils and inks and behind-the-scene commentary. Are we going to see a script involved with that?
Yeah, so I've done that in the past, like certain pages. So I'll do like the pencils, the inks, the colors, and then explain like what was going into that page. So like what was my thought process, and just exploring like why I'm doing it. That was actually another thing that when I started to have the idea that I could write was actually from the Walking Dead Deluxe. And in the back, Kirkman actually had his outline for each page, just like a sentence. And then he would go in for 2 pages saying exactly what he was thinking and why he went there and what he was doing. And that was actually a big part of, I can just start out as an outline and then I can be a writer after that. So I wanted to do something like that with my deluxe as well. Not every page, but the key pages of why I did this and what was I pulling from, in other media to get to this point. So.
And then we have the digital catch-up, issues 1 through 4, $19. Awesome price there for 4 issues. The first final, first act arc final. Awesome price there. If you guys love holofoil, you're in luck. Cover D, which is that awesome cover we were just like blushing over earlier. That probably looks so beautiful. Which parts of it are going to be the hollows?
So it'll be the whole thing will be foil, and the way the logo is, because it's white, so it hollows itself basically. I've done
Okay.
that for the other covers too, and it looks pretty.
Holoception, not bad. We have
No.
the physical catch-up, issue 1 through 4 at 40, so that's a phenomenal price too. $10 a comic. Cannot beat that at all. How many pages would you say is within this bundle?
So it's 24 pages each, so it's 96 pages.
Yeah,
for
that's
all
not
four.
bad for $40. That is not bad. We have the all-in-one package at 60. So celebrate the arc finale in the miniseries by purchasing all of our new merchandise and some of our favorites. Dude, I'm loving this merchandise. Also, you know, one I want to focus on too is getting drawn in and guest appearance credit. So, I mean, you get drawn in, you get a shirt, 5x7 physical print of the page. I want to say, what was it, issue 1 or 2? It's like you see in the crowd, it looked like that was a guest appearance, just like the way how detailed the faces were.
Yeah, so I didn't do it issue 1 just because I didn't know how that would work, being a new writer and a new team and everything. But issue 2 and 3, we did it, and also I did it in my recon book as well. And it's a huge help for me. It's a huge thing to be in a book yourself. And I just wanted to make it seem you're more part of it than what you already were. So like it has your picture in it and everything too, but you also get in the credits your name is in there as well. So
Not bad. For everyone that is watching, here is the link to that Kickstarter. We just went through it in its entirety, but be sure to check it out. Put it on Facebook and Twitter if you can. Word of mouth is 100% free, so share it with your friends and family. Sean, for anyone who might be on the fence about backing this campaign, what would you like to say to them to help push them over that hump?
oh man, if you like anything from the 90s, if you like over the top crazy action, if you like teams of really family oriented things, world building, then this is the comic for you. I mean, it gets crazy, and then I'm continuing on after this. As soon as this funds, I'm going to start art for issue 5 and continue on till issue 12 until it's complete.
So I know this is your first time on the show, but for any guest that I have come on, I always love asking them a piece of advice for anyone that is watching. For me, myself, as someone who, a fledgling, a youngin' within the scene, who started interviewing and then developed a love for writing, you know, I can understand how valuable it is just to have a piece of information from someone who's doing it. And then we finish off with what you're consuming outside of creating. I always think that's interesting, especially since you said you've been keeping up on a weekly poll list. So curious what you're reading about as well. So Sean, for anyone who is looking into getting into world building, it feels like that is such a easy place to kind of get lost in the sauce, right? Like you either add too much or add too little. It can be hard to find a balance. For anyone who is maybe suffering with that aspect of world building, what would be your biggest piece of advice to help them, you know, be able to do it successfully?
I think one thing with world building is you continually do research and more research and more research and just delve too much into it. But when you're doing that kind of research, you're not really actually developing your own plan. So I would say just honestly, this sounds very simple, but just doing it and just keep on writing it through and just trying to make pages of where this story could go in A and a B. So like the beginning and the end. And once you have that, once you start writing and you have, you know, some of the world building, then the middle actually you find it while you're writing. So that's been huge for me, is as long as I have the beginning and the end, I don't know what's gonna happen in the middle, but as I'm writing each panel, then something comes to mind that would be, you know, crazy and awesome, and oh, I can tie this to this, and that's just the fun of it, is just doing it and finding that middle.
Do you keep some sort of like Bible for your world building with this series?
I have way too many notebooks, that's for sure. When I started writing, so I didn't have the time to just you know, type it up on Word or whatever. I had to use notebooks and just write it, and my mind was going too fast for my hand to really write. So nobody could understand any of my Bible whatsoever, but everything is handwritten. Even all the script is handwritten, and then I type it up. So I have, I don't know, like 10 notebooks of all my writing so far. It's getting out of hand.
So last but not least, what are you up to outside of creating? You know, do you play video games? Have you watched any cool movies lately? What series are you diving in comic wise?
Yeah, so comic wise, I really dig a lot of the image stuff.
Hmm.
I've always been huge on Marvel and DC, but more a little bit less of that now, especially of my own writing, doing creator owned and wanting to read more creator owned. So like one big one that I thought is really cool lately is assorted crisis events with was it Camp and honestly Ultimates Marvel. He also writes that. The Moon is Following Us with Image is really cool with Daniel Warren Johnson, and Absolute Batman has been nuts.
Been
I mean,
really wanting to dive into that. It's something about that big bulky design. I need it.
yeah, I remember when it first came out, and everyone was like, "This is crazy. I don't know if this is gonna work." And now everybody all of a sudden loves it. And I mean,
Hmm.
it's been great the whole time. I haven't read the newest issue with Bane, but it's sitting right next to me, and I'll be reading that tomorrow. So
Yeah, I had
yeah,
the from the local library. And for anyone who is listening, you can go to your local library. 9 times out of 10, they will have graphic novels there for a lot of people who are not in the know. I picked up Mr. Miracle, which was volume 4. It collected issues 1 through 12 by Tom King. And
okay,
it's such a crazy read. My fiance, we found out she was pregnant. I had this book on my shelf for a little bit of time. Sorry about the, going past due library. If you're listening, we re-rented it out. But it's such a crazy story. Mr. Miracle in it. And Big Barda, he gets sentenced to execution, and like while they're going to the throne room and they're like killing guards and avoiding traps and everything, Big Barda lets out like, "Hey, I'm pregnant." And I'm like reading this like a month or two after finding out that my fiance is pregnant, and it just resonated with me so hard. It's insane the emotions like a comic can provoke, right? Like the emotions it can bring out, and just the timing of it. And then
yeah,
Mr. Miracle just got greenlit for a animated series, I think, literally
yeah,
yesterday.
yep, yeah, it looks pretty cool. I mean, it looks like the same kind of style as the book too, so that's even cooler.
Yeah. So awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, Sean, thank you so much for swinging by. This was one hell of an interview. I'm happy we finally got you on, and we're able to break into the fog within. Everyone that is watching, there's a link in the comments. Be sure to check that out. And if you miss it, hit up the description. The link's going to be in there as well. Hope you all have a fantastic Friday. But most importantly, guys, keep it geekly.